All right, this is awesome. I am enjoying this already. Today we are doing another podcast. The only issue that we have right now is that I have two screens going on. One that's for YouTube this way, and then I have one for Twitch this way. So I'm going to be listening in on both sides if there are any comments or anything. The only reason that it is this way is it glitches out when I try to do both at the same time on one laptop. So I'm borrowing my girlfriend's laptop, which is the exact same laptop as what I have, and we're just going to look back and forth because that's the easiest way to do it. So, with that being said, Noah's not here today. It's going to be me again. School is very tough. So, he's going to be kind of on the wayward side for a little bit. I think probably another 2 or 3 weeks. But then after that, he'll probably be back for another maybe half dozen episodes. And then school will ultimately just keep doing this cycle until he's done. So, we'll just keep going on. I'll always be here. So, we'll keep going. So it seems like it's been a long week. I felt like this has been a long week from the start. It has been what seems like an infinite amount of news, but all of it was so long ago. So some of that news that I kind of felt that way about was the qualifying offers. That was this week, or at least a majority of them were. Trevor Bauer saying on Twitter that he wasn't going to accept his already. That was beforehand, but every other one was at least I think a day after. It was like Monday or something like that. So I guess we got to talk about it. It's going to be real weird. But we got DJ LeMahieu. He declined his. We have um, George Springer. Oh, also, if you're looking down, I got notes. So I like to make sure that I keep on track and I can't just look straight. Yeah, so DJ LeMahieu declined his as well as George Springer and JT Realmuto. That makes sense. They all, they're going to get great contracts. I think people are underrating how much DJ LeMahieu is going to get. I watched Giraffe Neck Mark, and he acted as if DJ LeMahieu wasn't even a big name free agent, but I consider him probably top five. Um, I guess what can you do, right? But he definitely deserves to be in that top five conversation for this free agency. But he didn't even treat it that way. Maybe I'm going to talk about a little bit about that video afterwards because his video was very, I don't know, eye opening to maybe a little bit of bias or maybe just uh, easiness. I don't know. We'll talk about it after. Another thing that happened was there was a very small signing, but still interesting nonetheless. Jason Vossler, who was part of the AAA affiliate for the Padres in 2019, was signed with the Giants. He didn't play in 2020 because I don't believe he was even attached to a team. And regardless, even if he was in any affiliate, he wouldn't really be playing unless he was added to the alternate site, which he wasn't. So I think this is a great signing. If you look at how he did leading up to before 2020, he actually did pretty fantastic. He had, I can't remember what it was. I think it was like a 291 batting average. His slugging was like 450, 500 at least, which isn't bad. And I mean, for a guy who has yet to be proven, I think it'll be great for him to get a starting role, maybe take a little bit to try it on and figure it out. I think he has the talent. I think he can do it. And then surprisingly this week, what also happened was the LaRussa DUI. Well, not the actual DUI. Apparently, it happened back in February. I don't know how nobody heard of this, but I guess that's news for you. He was actually, I believe it was charged, and so yeah, he got charged for that. And then Stroman went on a whole little kind of snappy remark thing, saying that so long as he's the manager there, he would never go to the White Sox. I think it was based on a comment that a guy was saying. I don't know if necessarily it's true, but the guy was talking about how LaRussa was racist and all these types of things. And because of that, Marcus Stroman just wants peace of mind. I get that. And I think if it is true, I don't know. I haven't really looked into Tony LaRussa like that. I think that that would be pretty good grounds for him to not want to go to the White Sox. So you stay with the Mets for the year. Why not? And speaking of the staying with the Mets, both Marcus Stroman and Kevin Gausman accepted their qualifying offer. So they're staying with the Mets and Giants respectively. Makes sense because I don't think either of them were going to get that much AAV in a single year or beyond that because Kevin Gausman, I heard, was apparently going to be getting and had received multiple multi-year deals, but he declined it, opting for the 1 year. Maybe that's because he wanted all that money in 1 year, and then hopefully that can bolster his value for the next year, or maybe it just might be that he wanted to. I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to stay where he was from. Stay with the Giants because he's already been there for a little while. So who knows? I think it's worth it for him to stay for a little while longer. If this year goes well, I think the Giants and their area is probably the best for him, anyways. So good on him, anyways. So the awards already happened. I mean, I'm going to quickly just go through them. There's no real reason to talk about them a ton because I already did a daily bits about. I don't know if I did about all of them. I did the first two. I know I did Rookie of the Year and Manager of the Year. The only issue I had was that when I did I believe it was on Thursday or Friday, one or the other, I had posted a video and I was real proud of it. It was probably one of my better videos. And then my editing software decided to take a dump on it, kind of thing. If I had kept it up, nobody would have watched it. Maybe like the first 3 seconds because the audio got really choppy and didn't sound good. So I'm going to try and fix that. Maybe I'm going to buy a little bit of an editing software that's a little better because, cheap is usually better for me with money. But if we want quality here, we got to get better. So that's probably what we're going to do. But we'll kind of recap. And because I didn't really talk about it in the daily bits, the only daily bits of the week, I'm going to have to fix it and do it all here. So we have the rookie of the years were Devin Williams in the National League of the Brewers, which made a lot of sense. To me, he was the best. There was a debate between him and Jake Cronenworth. I don't think there was much of a debate because the amount of dominance that Williams had was perfect. Good for him. Proud. Great. And then in the American League, it was Kyle Lewis. Again, there was a debate between him and Louis Robert, but I had a hard time believing that because Louis Robert had a hard time in September. His first month and a half, I think it was like 35, 40 games. He was doing fantastic. Easy. It was, if he kept on that track or even half on that track, he probably would have been a unanimous Rookie of the Year. But he fell off. He went like 11 and 81. That's just terrible. And his fielding stayed good, but that's not enough to carry you for an entire month of terrible. So I will concede that Kyle Lewis should have won. Well, I thought from the start Kyle Lewis should have won, but Louis Robert was really trying to prove me wrong by the end of August. Luckily, my bet stayed the same, and Kyle Lewis won, so that worked out for me. So we also have the Cy Youngs. That was pretty impressive as well. Spoiler alert, I guess, is that I bet on all these, and I won on all of these. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I thought I did a pretty good job on it. So Trevor Bauer won in the National League for the Cincinnati Reds, which it wasn't as tight of a vote as I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be a lot tighter between him and Darvish. And then people were still voting for Jacob deGrom. Like people in groups and people in chats on Twitter and things like that. They were still saying that Jacob deGrom should win third straight, which would have been an awesome story. I would have loved to hear that. And it'd be fun here. But he didn't perform as well as other pitchers. He performed well, just not as good. And then Shane Bieber, American League, Cleveland Indians, makes sense. He deserves it. I think he might win another one or two before his career's over, because his stuff works very, very well. And regardless of if he's going to be with the Cleveland Indians or whatever team he's going to be with, I think he's going to do fantastic, and it's worth him to go and continue. And I think he might actually win another award. And then we have the MVPs. We have Freddie Freeman in the National League for the Braves. Spoiler alert, both were first basemen. Well, not really spoiler alert. This was like 3 days ago. But it made sense. It made sense that they both won. And it was the first time that it's happened, I think, in almost 30 years. And then the last time that it did happen was when there was a tie for I think it was in the American League, and both of the players that tied were first basemen. So it's pretty impressive that this has been so long since this happened. I wonder how often it is, because they never mentioned it, where it's just the same position, let alone both first basemen. And then we have Jose Abreu in the American League for Chicago White Sox. Like I said, first baseman. This one for so many people was very confusing. A lot of people thought DJ LeMahieu was better. A lot of people thought Jose Ramirez was better. This one was probably, to me, the closest where all three candidates really did have have a shot, a decent shot, anyways. But I thought that Abreu had the best of shots. So it, good for him. And I thought it showed a lot of emotion there, and I thought that was very impressive of him that he was able to do it, and how proud he was, I think, of himself there. I liked it. It was very impressive. And then Ryan Tepera, he got an NL MVP vote, which it's funny because he actually now posted on Twitter about it. He did say he was happy that, although it was a mistake, that he got a vote because I think he did deserve it. In some ways, in his mind, maybe. In previous years, maybe he could have got one, but this year he definitely didn't. And I thought it was funny that he got one for the main fact that it was actually a division rival writer that actually gave it to him. I think it was a Cardinals writer. I'm pretty sure it could be a Reds writer, but I'm pretty sure Cardinals. It was only 10th place vote, but hey, you know what? It's a vote, so why not, right? And then we got. I thought there was a little bit of bias. I said it in the video that got screwed up by one writer specifically. He was a Boston Globe writer, I think he was. And he voted for Alex Verdugo in 5th place. And then I said it in the video, but where it got corrupted and everything, that he voted for somebody else on Boston for 10th place. This is kind of weird, but I get it that Alex Verdugo had a decent season. But the issue with that is that nobody else voted for a single Boston Red Sox. So it's kind of easy to see that the bias was there. I could get it for some teams where if you wanted to kind of promote the one player and put him in 10th place, but the fact that you put Alex Verdugo in 5th when nobody even had a Boston Red Sox on their thing, it's a little suspect. Not good. Very not good. And then the biggest news of the week is that I'm going to butcher her last name. I am sorry in advance. Kim Ng, I think is how it's pronounced, was the first female general manager in the 4 major sports for the Marlins, for those who haven't seen the information already out. And I think this is a great thing for sports. I find it very odd that this hadn't already happened, and especially for her, because there was 30 years of experience. She had been with the Yankees, Dodgers, I think Cardinals, and she was with the commissioner's office for the past 9 years. So the fact that she didn't get, well, it's kind of an injustice that she didn't get it sooner than she did, but I'm proud as a baseball fan that she was able to get that. And now I think she's actually going to do some great things for the Marlins. I think they were already on the right path, and now she's going to lead them to that victory that they will probably get within the next 3 years. Maybe we could see. And then one of the biggest things I actually wanted to talk about was the all MLB team or teams, whatever. So the votes are final now, I think, as of Friday. And I don't know why they wait so long, but the votes won't be finalized and then shown until I think it's December 7th, 3 weeks away. Why? I don't know. But I'm going to look on my phone and I'm going to read off who I have. Let me know who you guys have also, because I want to know what you guys have, who you guys think is going to be at each position. For those who don't know, it's a player at each position, where outfield is just a broad term outfield. It's not left, center, and right, because some people can interchange. And then there's 5 starters and 2 relievers, I think. I'll take a read and I'll let you know. So we got here. I should have had this up beforehand. I'm not the smartest guy. This happened a while ago. I did my votes so long ago. There we go. And then we also have another voting thing that they did recently where it was legendary moments. I don't know if they finished that. I'll have to take a look. But they did a pretty impressive list of different events that happened throughout the year. I loved watching all of them. I made sure to watch all the clips first. And I can remember a majority of them because I watched almost all the games. What I did was I ended up having 2 or 3 tabs open at the same time, and then you can watch four games on each tab. It's tedious, maybe, and maybe it's a little glitchy at times, but it was actually really enjoyable to watch. And seeing all those moments, or at least most of them at the time that they happened, was probably the best moments, especially having them at the time rather than having to watch them in hindsight. So I got my MLB All team here, and I'm going to start reading them out. And I feel like I don't have to explain some of them because it kind of, when you look at them, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, yeah. So first base, Freddie Freeman. I mean, NL MVP. So what better can you get other than maybe the American League MVP? So we could see which one, but I think Freddie Freeman is better of the two. So I can see it going either way. I'll be fine either way, but I think it's going to be him. Second base, I got DJ LeMahieu. There were a couple great choices for second base, but again, he was top 3 candidate, and it made sense. He worked that position well, although he did play other areas of the field. Young, I hate yelling. He played. I think he played third and first, and he played a game or two in the outfield. I cannot remember. I don't choose to remember these things super strongly, but if I do remember correctly, I think it was that he played those positions. Fernando Tatis Jr. is at shortstop. I don't know if necessarily he is the best. I think there was a couple different options that would have been acceptable, but I would put him there just because he was the not only like the flashiest, but people enjoyed watching him, I think, the most out of all the other shortstops that were there. He was very enjoyable. He showed a lot of emotion, and people loved that. That stuff was what people lived and died for. And I would agree. He made baseball really enjoyable this year. So I think he will definitely get there. I hear they're doing first and second and third MLB all MLB teams. I don't know why they just don't do one, but beyond me. I think he's going to make first. This is me just picking my first. At third base, I have Jose Ramirez. This one was really, really tough because there's a lot of different options. But again, he was a third place MVP vote for the AL, and so was Machado. Machado was, I'm pretty sure he's a third base. I'm going to say he is. I'm like 90% sure he is for the San Diego Padres. And he also was third in NL MVP voting. But I feel like he was less placed there because he had a better teammate that should have been in the MVP vote higher than him. And then you got Juan Soto. He should have been higher than him. But besides that, I think that Jose Ramirez was the best third baseman. Some people could say otherwise. There are some other great third basemen. Nolan Arenado didn't have a great bat season, but he's a Diamond Glover, so that's got to mean something, right? And then Justin Turner had a great year this year, or at least a better year this year. I'm trying to think of third baseman that did well. I know there was other ones though. Anyways, but I think Jose Ramirez definitely has that lockdown. JT Realmuto is the catcher. I could guarantee you that out of 99% of people who didn't choose their own team because they had a fan bias, they would choose JT Realmuto because he is easily the best, and it's convenient for teams because he's also on the free agency market, and good for him. He did a great job. He's going to get that money, like a big old bag, millions and millions. I think he's going to have. I'm going to guess he's going to have the second biggest contract. Maybe I'll explain that later. We'll see. So designated hitter, I have Marcell Ozuna. I found it kind of impressive that when they brought the designated hitter rule and into the National League, that the National League actually adopted it pretty well. And I think I read an article that said they actually did it better this year than the American League. Now, this might have been a bit of an off year for designated hitters in the American League. I can't say for sure, but I saw a lot of National League designated hitters that were big names. You got Marcell Ozuna, you got I guess Nelson Cruz was on the American League, but he's starting to get old. That sounds dumb to say, but he's gotten older. He is now 40 or 41, and he's going to retire soon. His skills going to slowly go away, and he'll be done. But a lot of the National League teams had good DHs. There was the Dodgers had a great DH. The Braves, which was Marcell Ozuna. The Mets should have had it in the bag, but then a lot of weird things happened, like the Yoenis Cespedes thing, and among other things, and that kind of just got screwed up. I'm pretty sure the Phillies had a great DH. Watching them, if I can remember correctly, they did have a pretty good DH. But I think the National League did a great job with DHs, and I think Marcell Ozuna was the highlight of that. I don't really think there's any name that stands out more in the DH spot than him right now. So good for him. I hope he wins it. Anyways, um, you'll see it's a trend because good for everybody. I think that for the outfield, I have Juan Soto, Ronald Acuna Jr., and Mike Trout. I feel a little off about this now, but hopefully I cannot remember. Hopefully it's just for the regular season because I would possibly switch out Ronald Acuna Jr. for Mookie Betts and possibly Mike Trout for I don't know. I feel like he could possibly be swapped out just because he didn't have as good of a season as, which is terrible to say because this is the first time he's gotten below top 4 and he got top 5 in MVP. So, but yeah, I think he's probably going to be in it. And then Juan Soto, I think, is guaranteed going to be in it. So that one's where I feel shakiest. Starting pitching, I feel pretty strong about, although I'm going to admit that I had a little bit of bias in it. So the first area that thing that I need to note is that I only had one guy from the American League, and obviously that was Shane Bieber. That made sense for me because he was so when I put on I rank pitchers and whether there's National League and American League, I have the American League, Shane Bieber, and then there's like 6 or 7 pitchers for me that are in the National League that are better. Now, maybe that's not true. Maybe there's a couple American League pitchers that definitely did dominate, like Kenta Maeda did great. Hyunjin Ryu, that's the shirt, did great, but I don't think that they were better than some of the other guys that were in the National League. So I have Shane Bieber. I have the 3 Cy Young candidates in Trevor Bauer, Jacob deGrom, and Yu Darvish. And then the bias comes in for my 5th pick. I don't think he's going to get it, but I chose Clayton Kershaw. I really enjoyed him this year, and he really proved himself. Like whether it was in the postseason or not, he still did fantastic. Not his best year, obviously, because some of his best years were the most ridiculous ever. But it's a bias. Why can't I have one pick? And then I have relievers. They did have 2, and I picked Liam Hendriks, which felt like a pretty obvious pick. He's always been fantastic. I don't know. He just seems right. And then I also have Devin Williams, the Rookie of the Year winner. I don't see anybody in the American League reliever-wise that's going to fit the bill. And then there's not a ton left outside of Liam Hendriks other than Devin Williams. Maybe one of the other guys in the Brewers bullpen because they had who was it they had? Anybody can comment who it was they had that was like that big guy that won it last year? Oh, Josh Hader. Yeah, he did great this year. And then they had a third guy that I'm not going to remember the name, but he did fantastic as well. I do remember that they had like a three-person workhorse there. Now, people might say that Tampa Bay Rays, they could have had like Nick Anderson or something like that. I'm going to say no. Just straight up. I don't feel it. It doesn't feel right. So I'm going to leave it to those 2, both in the National League. That's my all MLB team. I think they're all great choices. I think I'm pretty spot on. Outside of maybe the Clayton Kershaw one, that one could probably be switched out for maybe like Kenta Maeda, which would then just be like the top 5 vote getting Cy Young Award winners, which I guess makes sense. But then that just kind of defeats the purpose of an all MLB team. I can't look at my legendary moments. Shucks. I want to first ask as well because I don't have a ton of notes left. Do you guys have anything you want to hear about while I'm on here? Because I love having discussions with people about baseball. I don't like just having these one-way conversations, me just talking about it, because my opinion can be wrong. My opinion's wrong all the time, and I don't like being not listening to other people. I like hearing what you guys have to say about past like years ago baseball. If it's outside of the modern era, I'm not going to really be able to talk about it too much because unlike some people, like I am in one Facebook group where they are able to, or they do talk about past like dead ball and stuff like that all the time. And I can't do that because I don't really know much about it. But when it comes to anything like 1970s and up, I could definitely give you some conversation. So if you guys ever have anything you want to talk about, or if you want to hear some discussion about it, something interesting, I am more than willing to be able to talk about it. Just let me know, and we'll we'll do that. Um, so back to the one idea that I did want to talk about was how Giraffe Neck Mark, he's a big old YouTuber, or well, okay, moderate sized YouTuber, who is on the baseball scene. So on the baseball scene, he's big, but in general, he's mediocre, like moderate. Anyways, he has like 200,000 subscribers, something like that, and he puts out yearly where he thinks each player is going to be. Now this year, I don't know if he did it last year, but this year his video had it so that the what was it? His video didn't explain why, other than like if he just said he had a gut feeling or something like that. Um, sure, we have gut feelings. I can agree to that. Or if you have like a hometown favorite, like say for me, if I said I wanted every player to go to the Blue Jays and I wanted every player to go to the Cardinals because those are my two favorite teams. But obviously, I like I like the Dodgers. I like all teams. I'm collecting hats for all teams because I like all the teams. Um, but it came to a point that it was a little it just didn't feel right like at all. And that's not just because I felt superior or whatever. It was really bad to me just because of two things. And I think these two things are invaluable to kind of excuse in your mind. One was that a majority of the time he was choosing like when he was saying these players, I think I had even said it in a tweet. I wish I had counted, but I'm pretty sure it was close to 50 different players out of like 100 or something like that he chose where they were going to land in free agency, that they were going to be going back to their team, which is extremely unrealistic. I got to look both ways now because at one point I only had one on YouTube and that was it. But now I got actually somebody on each side. But it didn't make sense to me saying like Charlie Morton's going to go back to the Rays, and which some of these definitely make sense, or something along the lines of going to go back to his old team, like Encarnacion back to the Jays, or like for example, for the Blue Jays, every player that was chosen for them, I without exception, I'm almost sure they were all going either they were going back to the Jays because they were playing with the Jays this past year, or they had played with the Jays a couple of years ago and they're coming back. So Encarnacion, Anthony Bass, I think that was it. I think there was only like two or three players. Oh no, there was one and he had never played. I think it was Tommy Hunter, who is I believe he's a reliever in the Phillies bullpen. I don't see that happening because the Phillies bullpen was bad. The Jays are looking for a better bullpen, so it's kind of done to reverse. And they don't have the greatest training in relieving, so I don't know that the Jays should necessarily get somebody who needs work. They should get somebody who's already been worked on. Maybe look at some Rays relievers for trades or something. I don't know. But there was that. And then the second thing, which was, I thought it was crazy because at first I didn't think anything of it. But then I went back and then I've looked at some comments, both on YouTube and then on his Twitter about the post. And he did an overwhelming amount of those who didn't go back to their same team were going to a select few teams, where these select few teams never really said that they were going to be buyers. So for example, the Boston Red Sox, they've never exclusively said they'll be buyers. They just said that they're looking to build. I think they're going to rebuild personally. Let me know what you guys think. I think that they're going to be a rebuild team for a little while, just because they've now thrown out several of their biggest players, and although they're still at times half competitive and they still have some decent guys that, whether they were on the injury list like Chris Sale and they're going to come back, or they just underperformed this year like Rafael Devers, I think that they could half compete, but I don't think they're going to try. I think they're going to go into rebuild mode. But he was acting as if they were going to go full on. I don't think they're going to do that, especially because they had so much salary to pay for this year that they were trying to dump. And then with that, it's kind of like not a double-edged sword, but maybe it's a two swords attached to each other hitting the same area. Because what ended up happening was that he was also choosing some teams that have explicitly said, and even like other executives said, they were going to be picking up a ton of players, and basically said that they weren't going to pick up any. For example, the Blue Jays. I'm going to keep up bringing Blue Jays because Blue Jays are my life and Blue Jays are great. I like Blue Jays. But I think it's especially important to notice that it's been said. Ross Atkins, who's the general manager, had already said that they're going to be very bold, and they didn't say risky, but the way it sounded was that they were going to be risky. They were going to, attack on getting a bunch of free agents, and they were going to, get as many as they could, some of the best ones that they could. They were already close to landing another free agent, although they've already signed Robbie Ray. So then, I mean, when only three, well, I'm going to say two because I'm not counting qualifying offers, although they count them in the free agency market. There's only been two people signed so far, and it was Robbie Ray and Josh Tomlin, both back to their same team. I guess that's where he got the idea from, but I don't think that's necessarily true. And then the same thing for the Mets. The Mets sound like they're going to be buyers, and he only had, I think, two or three players max, and only one major name going there. JT Realmuto, if you're wondering, which I also agree. I think JT Realmuto is going to go to the Mets. It makes sense because he is an elite framer. He's, just an amazing catcher. And for those who don't know, the Mets have an incredible pitching tandem area thing, whatever, of Jacob deGrom. They got Noah Syndergaard, who's getting a hell of a lot better after, I believe it was a really bad injury. And then they do have a good bullpen. People need to stop saying bad things about their bullpen. I think their bullpen actually is fantastic. Just at times they might underperform. It's whatever, I guess, for them because, year in, year out, they underperform. But I think now with Steve Cohen coming in, they're going to do a lot better. They're going to be more riskier. But he didn't have many people come in going to them either. So that's why go watch the video. I might add a link to it later on the YouTube video or like the stream afterwards, but go take a look and let me know what you guys think because, I don't think I'm an expert. I really don't. I think I like baseball. And if I feel a certain way about something, then I might say a certain thing or whatever, but I'm not going to say that this is confirmed or this is whatever. I feel this way that like this trade, like I might do a free agency prediction, but I'm definitely going to be I'm going to make it known that I'm very shaky about most of these picks. But then again, some of his picks were, I think, realistic. Trevor Bauer going to the Angels, I think that's probably one of the most realistic ones. The top pitcher going to the Angels. Not because the Angels didn't say they were going to be aggressive. We need to make sure we know that first before watching how things unfold. They never said they were going to be aggressive, but I think a lot of people expect them to be aggressive. I do. Mark does. So it makes sense that they probably sign well, and they need new pitching. They need new pitching. Everybody knows that. That's been known. So I think it's something important to kind of think about that. Although teams haven't necessarily said that they're aggressive, they might be. And then that videos like these or videos like mine, where if I do a prediction, don't take it very strongly. I'm not going to take myself very strongly. I might look back and be like, oh my gosh, that was really bad. Just for fun. Or I might actually look and be like, wow, I should have actually done some bets or something like that. But that's the fun of it. And, we need to have fun with that because, it's okay to be wrong. But anyways, I think that's pretty much it. Unless you guys can think of something, which we don't really need to. It's been 30 minutes. I kind of like having it this length. It's nice. It would definitely be tough to get it this long when Noah's back. Not because he talks a lot, although he does. It's mostly because, talking back and forth, getting the same, two people talking about something is very tough to kind of make it a small amount of time. So like what is almost 35 minutes on YouTube and then 37 minutes on Twitch because I started you a little early just to make sure that I could get it set up. Actually ends up being like 45 minutes, 50 minutes with two people. So we got to think about that. If you guys want us to continue doing short videos like these, then maybe we'll do we'll try and do maybe like 2 a week. Maybe we can do that, or maybe I can do 2 a week. Because I know Noah might not be able to do that, but we'll have to figure it out. You guys got to let me know what we can do, or what you want me to do, what you want me and Noah to do. Yeah. So with that being said, I guess I'll say goodbye if nobody else has anything else. So have a great day, guys. This has been another podcast. And I guess we'll see you probably on Tuesday with a Daily Bits. So long as it gets edited properly and it doesn't glitch out, we'll see from there. Have a great rest of your day, guys. This has been Baseball Blitz Christian.